Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Bishop Chapter Development Diaries. Today, I'm going to be taking you through my current white box as it stands and showing off a bunch of the blueprint setup I have already, as well as some upcoming stuff I've sort of set up. This one's going to be unscripted, so bear with me as I take you through this. It's going to be a lot of jumping around, I think, with my thoughts. So, let's just jump straight in, I guess. What you're seeing is the current kind of spacing layout I have so far. I took the map that you have previously seen and I laid it over this kind of sculpted landscape, and then I built very vague shapes for all the various things I'm going to be dropping into the world, and then yeah, I set them up then in a way that looks fairly decent so far. So this is the overworld. I am hoping to include an underground map as well, but I'm not yet sure if there will be enough time for it, at least not project-wise, relating to my uni studies. I do sort of intend to continue this somewhat semi-seriously after it's been submitted, because I would like to get that underground section done. And I also see future uses for this environment when it comes to me actually working on the comic itself. And you can hear me talk a little bit more about that in the last episode, the episode 1 introduction. So let's load up the main menu and I'll show you what we're dealing with. Right, ignore these buttons on the screen for now. I'll explain what those are about in a bit. You know, actually I'm going to get this in an editor window. I'm going to full screen it. And you got some of Dave Rollins' music coming in there. And we have the enter and quit buttons. Kind of minimalistic in terms of the button setup. Let me just take this down a bit. I think it's okay. Should be fine. Anyway, let's enter straight in, and we load into the level itself, and you can hear Dave's kind of alternate lo-fi mix of the main theme. So, just walking around, you can see how it's going to feel quite desolate. The road's just going to be very polished, empty. There's going to be there's this park area over here next to the lake, and there'll be bushes and trees, and then maybe a few cars parked in this kind of parking area here. And then all around the map we have these big walls, which will be these very imposing stone Egyptian things. Visibility won't be quite this clear, I don't think, or at least I hope not, in the actual game. But my thinking is that the player will start here, right on the tip of this little piece of land, where you can sort of wander this way, but you won't be able to go in the water, and you won't be able to get across and then the first building the player will come across will be this then, a small kind of forest shack. I need to push the ground down a bit here. And then gradually the player is going to navigate around this lake, thinking they're in a wooded area, and then they emerge into this strange, very clean, very neat car park, and they see the walls, they see these strange buildings, and then you're out on the main road. And then to the left here we have kind of the main entrance to the map. Not where the player starts, but where the sort of in-world characters will come in. And this is, the aim is to open this gate, which will be closed, and it'll be there'll be a control building here, but it will need to be powered. So your classic kind of power diversion thing, but the way to power it will be split into 3 separate puzzles across the map. And yeah, you'll be able to see out here and see that this is where you want to be, but the gate will be closed, so you won't be able to go out. Turning around then, this road won't be so high. You can break into the small behind the scenes garden area, get a bit more of a sense of the environment. I'm hoping for most of these buildings to be accessible, but we'll see what time I have to make that work. And then this very top area of the map then is going to be a kind of warehouse loading bay where the bulk of the activity will be. And I also want the entrance to the underground area to be located around here somewhere. I was thinking of tucking it away behind there, but it might end up being inside one of the buildings instead. So that's what we're looking at so far in terms of the level white box. It's just to get a sense of space and to make sure everything is just placed right, it feels right, looks right. There are a few things I need to adjust. You probably saw them as I was walking around. Just bits of the terrain that are too high or too low. Like, I don't know. Here maybe. Who knows? Yeah. So that's that. Now then, let me show you the main menu. So again, what I have going on here, I'm playing around with a button combination thing, where this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and enter. And this can be pulled up by clicking a small area, a hidden pixel somewhere. And this is kind of like a dev tool thing that I want to implement into it, where if I do include unlockables, such as the previously discussed comic pages, there'll be codes you can enter into this to unlock everything from the get-go without having to play through. It's just for me to test things later on. However, I have actually gone and coded that entire thing. It'll be in the widget actually. What am I doing? Cool. So if I go on the graph, you can see that with the way I have it set up, each code is going to have its own big system. There are probably cleaner ways to do this, but when I was just setting it up, this is what I came up with. Each number button has its own of string, and for example button 0, button 1, button 2, and when these are clicked it checks to see what's already been clicked to make sure that the sequence is right, and then based on what the sequence is, then it'll mark digits as having been selected. So if we go back, so I forgot this code, so I had to come back and look. 181006. So if I go back into the game itself, so 1, you can see in the corner, digit 1 selected, 8, 1, 0, 0, 6, and enter. Code entered. So that would then trigger whatever I want to be unlocked from that code. Let me show you a wrong code, for example. So if I start with 8, failed. Anything that's not a 1 is failed. And if the second digit is not 8, failed. And if I do click 8 instead, it's still failed because it needs to be preceded by the 1. 8, 1, 0, 0, 6. And then if you don't press enter and press something else, you get failed. And if you press enter afterwards, nothing happens. So yeah, I managed to code that in myself without really any guidance, because I've worked on things like this in previous projects. So most of the things I'm trying to work on I will need tutorials and guidance for, but the odd thing like this I do enjoy trying to figure out myself and programming myself. It's almost like I'm sort of deciphering puzzles as I go on this puzzle game. And yes, just a failed string. So I've got when the string has failed, it deselects anything that has been selected and sort of synced in, and then you get the failed message. So yeah, this entire box is copyable and adjustable for different codes, so it's not going to be too convoluted, despite me having an inkling that there are easier ways to do this. Yeah, this is not a priority anyway, it's just something I set up. You got the classic sort of main menu buttons. When you press enter, you open the level. When you press quit, it quits the game. What else have we got? Standard animation plays, just to get the widget to show up and animate. So you notice that when it starts, you got the music playing for a bit, you got the smoke drifting in front of the screen, and then you got the chess piece rotating before, after a few seconds, then the title fades in, followed by the buttons fading in. That's what this is all controlling here. Button spawn, smoke looping, fade in. Pre-construct. So Unreal has this strange thing where animations tend to, you can't really sync them up the way you want them. So anything that needs to fly in from outside, so for example, say a button overlay that you wanted to fade in, before it fades in, it is still present and can be interacted with. So you got to make sure that it's off screen until you need it. So these, a lot of these animations are things flying in from outside the screen before fading in and being used. So the play button and the quit button, for example, they would technically be clickable before they even appeared, unless I had these animations in place to have them fly in from off screen. But the problem then is when you start the game, it doesn't always, it sort of plays it either in a loop, or it plays it once when you don't need it, and then it just causes loads of problems. So this pre-construct thing is basically me reversing each animation. So I make sure that things fly out in 50 times regular speed just to make sure they're off screen, and then when they need to fly in, they fly in at much slower speeds. It's actually hard to explain, but it's a lot simpler than I make it sound. I'm just bad at explaining. So anyway, here's the widget. We've got my animations down here in the left. Smoke looping, so fade in. So you can see, okay, so this illustrates it a bit better. So you know when I opened the widget, the words were visible. This is what happens actually when you play it back. So the words are visible, and then they vanish, and then they fade in, which is kind of annoying because you don't want them to start visible, you want them to start invisible. And so I set it up to very quickly reverse this animation, so they start visible, but you don't notice because by the time the screen's popped up, it's already faded out, and then the fade in plays. I hope that explains that better than my last attempt. Okay. What else have I got to show off? The blueprint for this level. All I have so far is just the music playing, so nothing unique to show there. Yeah, I think that about covers everything so far in terms of the game itself. I'm mainly working on concept art and design at the moment. Then I'm going to be modeling a bunch of assets and gradually replacing these white blocks with actually finished models. So hopefully by the next time I show off this world, it's not looking like this. I also need to paint the landscape on this, which I will have done by next time. I just need to adjust the terrain, because you've got pieces like this that I just need to go over with a fine-toothed comb and just make sure it's all looking good. And I also want to look into making this look like water, because at the moment it's like ice, I guess, because you can go straight on it and run around. I'm going to be setting up invisible walls around the edge to stop anyone going in. I need to get rid of jagged bits like this as well. But yeah, in terms of the scale, I think we're fine. I don't think that there was a moment in the early stage of me putting this up where the player character just felt too small. You just feel like a tiny person in a huge world. But as long as these buildings stay around this size, we should be fine. I do need to mess around with this road though. It's not going to be sitting on it like a block. I want it to sink in. We'll get there. We'll get there. Right. So here we have my general plan, running up until 2nd December, where I'm still going to be working hard on puzzles, as you can see, but this is all subject to change because, as I mentioned previously, I have no clue when my project deadline will be. So if it happens that the deadline is Friday the 26th, I'm going to need to condense all of this down into fewer days. But the general video plan is this. This is the video I'm currently making as I speak, and that you are currently watching as I speak. And the next should be in a couple days then. The Egypt concept art I'll show off, followed by the next showcase once these modeling days are done. Yeah, that's scheduling. What else do I have? Give you a sneak peek at the... No, I won't. Yeah, so that'll be it. Let's exit out of this. That's just a quick rundown of what I have so far and some of the ideas for puzzles. I've not done a massive amount of research. I've been watching playthroughs of Myst and Riven, going off the back of discussing them in the last video, and they've given me some ideas for ways of tackling the puzzles I'll be including in this game. So it should be an exciting few weeks. Thank you for sticking with me for 20 minutes. I hope this has given you a better idea of what I'm trying to achieve here. And I thank you very much for your time. And I'll catch you in the next video. Bye bye.